Yeah, talk about the raging waves. Right now, we're looking for a way to lift the curse of the raging waves. But that's Soda's area of expertise, so I'll leave the explanation to him. Right. This concerns a legend passed down in my family, the Kiru clan, over generations. Oh, I should mention, this is something I've pieced together from various sources, so it may not be entirely accurate. Right. Long ago, south of Kameshima, there was an island called Ise-Shima. It is said that 400 years ago, it was beset by an earthquake and a tsunami in an event so catastrophic that the island sunk to the sea floor. Ise-Shima. However, the truth of the matter is that it was invaded and laid waste to. Then, in the aftermath, the islanders' intense hatred coalesced into the Curse of the Raging Waves, which manifested as a tremendous storm, and who talked about how that might not be the case, and it might actually just be the, like, gods of Ryogu themselves? I see. 400 years ago, so this would have been towards the end of the Sengoku period, correct? Yes, ma'am. The Honnoji incident, in which Oda Nobunaga ended his life, took place in 1582, if you'll recall. Following this event, one of my ancestors, an accomplished onmyoji by the name of Harukage Tsuchimikado, sacrificed a young woman, one of the survivors of, well, yeah. So that would have been, at least, the, leading to that, the mermaid. We got that part. Sacrificed a young woman, one of the survivors of Ise-Shima, in order to seal away the source of the Curse of the Raging Waves. In onmyoji, Harukage Tsuchimikado? Wouldn't that make your ancestor a direct descendant of Abe no Sime? Sounds to me like you share a bloodline with the onmyoji elite. Saime. Yes and no. While Harukage's powers were potent, he was never affiliated with the Bureau of Onmyo. In fact, he shunned his illustrious surname early on and left the government's service, preferring to uphold peace as a civilian. Ah, so he was an eccentric and an elite. Gotcha. Was, Abe no Saime... wasn't in this. There were, like, some names similar to that, but I don't think it was that one. And that's not Simon, is it? Or is it Simon? I don't know, man. This guy, though, he got rid of his surname, so he could have had a name of importance, right? Yeah, because these were all different names. Okay. Harukage. Abe no Saime. He was an eccentric and elite, gotcha. Harukage's seal was not permanent, however. It would only endure for 4 centuries. Wait, you mean... Yeah, this was the last year of peace. Actually, the seal's already broken. Isn't that really bad? For now, the curse appears to be inert, but the storm could strike at any moment. Okay, so you need to find a way to seal the curse again, is that it? Not seal it, break it. We're here to put an end to this curse for good. Shouldn't be too difficult, it's bound to have weakened a bit after 400 years. Indeed, that seems to have been Harukage's plan, for legends tell. That he left behind instructions detailing how the curse could be lifted after 400 years had elapsed. However, the map that would have led us to these instructions has been lost. Oh no. It seems they were once concealed inside a model of a mummified mermaid. Yet over time, this fact was forgotten, and at some point in my family's history, the object in question was sold to a foreign buyer. But if you don't have the map, then what are you gonna do? Well, we were hoping to find some clue as to the map's whereabouts here on Kameshima. But we've had no luck so far, and I reckon we've hit a dead end. I see. Maybe I can talk to him now that he did his spiel. Only 2 days left to live. What would it be like to greet death after living 800 years and estranged from it? I can hardly imagine. It is surely beyond any mortal to understand. And like half of those years were spent being a sacrifice in the water, sleeping, which I guess might be a blessing considering 800 years is a long time. Huh? I'm not, okay, no, it's the same thing. I'm not immortal myself. Reason for visiting. But first, before I forget, yes? Keep our meeting today a secret, and don't let on to anyone that you know about the curse of the raging waves. Okay. People will get suspicious otherwise, even if Wakamura tells you about it. Be sure to act surprised. I figured that shouldn't be too difficult for you. You're an experienced secret keeper, after all. I don't know about that, but I'll do my best. Was this before Wakamura? This might have been after, like, when Sato was on her way to go and talk to Sotaro, and then Wakamura, like, sprung everything on her. Maybe? Apparently, Wakamura has been trying to find a way to end the curse of the raging waves himself. He told us he'd already warned the islanders about the impending danger and refused to have anything more to do with us. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I just hope that'll be the end of it, but this is one job I can't afford to foist off on anyone else. Not entirely, anyway. Why can't you afford to foist it on anyone else? Like, you know, obviously you don't want people to die, but saying you can't afford to seems weird. Apparently Wakamura has been trying to find a way to end the curse. Same thing. Just hope finding it. I wish there was like a different way it would show me that like this topic will have some continuation, but you have to move on before that. Like a ... next to it to be like table that for now. Oh, actually talking about the Bureau of Onmyo brought back another memory. I'm pretty sure it was an Onmyoji who put me on to sleep, using some kind of spell to keep me in a state between life and death. Okay, so at the very least, because I can't imagine the Onmyoji was a bad person. I think, didn't we read something that said they were friends? And it also sounded like Sato willingly allowed herself to be a sacrifice to stop the raging waves. So having this like purgatory sleep makes sense instead of constantly dying in the ocean. Which like it sounded like she didn't because she said she was asleep, but it's good to kind of get an idea about that. So at least he was kind enough to make her not suffer as much. Really? So someone intentionally put you to sleep under the sea. There must have been a good reason for it. Ugh! From what point are your memories clearest, would you say? I guess at this moment, Sato doesn't realize that she was a sacrifice and Soto might be putting 2 and 2 together. Well, I guess about 3 months ago, when the spell keeping me in the state under the sea wore off. The fact that they also brought up the fact that she was under the sea and not asleep. What was it? Yeah, I mean, just putting her to sleep and then her waking up on the beach doesn't necessarily mean she was asleep under the sea. From when you woke up then, I see. I know that look. Did you notice something? Not exactly. It simply occurred to me that if her state of, shall we say, suspended animation was lifted while she was in the sea depths, would she not have drowned and resurrected several times over? Oh, yeah, I did. It was no, never mind. I was hoping the sleep thing would have like had this part not happen. Damn it. I woke up under the sea unable to breathe, drowned and came back over and over again. God damn it. I was really hoping that that was just like a way to hand wave this from happening. Cause yeah, that doesn't sound good. It was horrible and I still remember it every last second. Jeez, I'm sorry you had to go through that. Jeez is a bit of an understatement. The instant I came back, I'd swim as hard as I could, trying to reach the surface. But even so, I think it took me about 3 days to reach the shore. I lost count of how many times I died down there. Was that Yeah, okay, so no. I misunderstood. That limbo sleep was a kindness. She wasn't like this for 400 years, but when she did finally wake up, she didn't just drift to shore. She woke up and then had to swim her way to shore, which took a long time because she kept drowning, which is still pretty awful. But it's not 400 years awful. Silver linings, right? I lost count of how many times I died down there. Then, finally, I came up in Kameshima Bay. Mr. Wakamura found me and took me in. And I've been living here peacefully ever since. No one's even suspected I'm immortal. You're sure about that, are you? No one else knows? Huh? Yeah, I mean, I think so. Anyhow, I guess that settles the issue of how far back your memories go. Yeah, I'd imagine then, if we look at the timeline, this is before Wakamura confronted her. For starters, only 2 days remain. Pretty calm about it. We done with you? We're done with you. Double check to make sure there's no stickers around. Vision mode off. If your lifespan is nearly at an end, that must mean you consumed the flesh of a mermaid exactly 800 years ago. Of course, you already knew that, didn't you? Not that you've been forthcoming about it. Sorry, I... Don't apologize, that just proves you know how to hold your tongue. A valuable skill, when you've got a secret to keep. Mind you, this fact does put matters in a new light. Say, Soto, what events took place 800 years ago? Let's see, 8 centuries ago from the present day. That would place us midway through the, how would I say that? 1180s? 1180s? I don't know how you would say that as far as years are concerned. I guess 1180s, like the 1800s, 1180s, something like that. When the Heian period was coming to an end. Right around when the Genpei War took place. Oh, of course! The Hike! Soto got real pumped. Exactly. Don't you think there might be a connection? Talk about the Hike. Alright, next question. You wouldn't happen to know much about the Hike, would you? The Hike? Why do you ask? This actually pertains to one of the other cases we're working on, but... we've got reason to believe that someone out there is using the curse of the Hike to commit murder. The curse of the Hike? Did you hear about those skeletal remains that turned up near here? It was all over the news. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Well, we suspect the curse of the Hike may be involved. And seeing as you were alive 800 years ago, I was hoping you might know something about the Hike that could help us. If you're right in thinking that you had ties to the Bureau of Onmyo, the timing matches up perfectly. I might have known once, but nothing's coming to me at the moment. Really? Shoot. On that note, I too have noticed potential correlation. There is a legend that tells how Tara no Tadamori was presented with the flesh of a mermaid at Betsuo. This was the one where it was, a fish mermaid though, right? Perhaps that was the flesh Sato consumed to gain her immortality? Actually, I'm pretty familiar with that legend myself. And those so-called mermaids that were caught at Betsuo definitely weren't the kind that could make anyone immortal. Oh, is that so? But if you ask me, Sato here couldn't have become immortal by eating mermaid flesh. Without the use of a relic called a Tamata Bako. Now does that ring any bells? Huh? Wait, mermaid flesh in the Tamata Bako? Oh, have you remembered something? Yes, that's it. It was one of the Hike. Oh, that's a samurai. A man wearing a suit of armor. We were on a boat. And he had the Tamata Bako. There was a mermaid flesh inside it. He wanted me to eat some of it. A warrior in armor, could it be? So, sounds like you had ties to the Hike as well. And this man, he was the one who made you eat mermaid flesh? Yes, I remember now. What was his name? Do you remember that too? I think it was Tomo something? Tomo... Shige, that's it! The man's name was Tara no Tomoshige. Tara no Tomoshige? That was the name of one of Tara no Yorimori's sons. And Yorimori himself was the son of Tadamori's official wife. So you're telling me that Tadamori's grandson forced Sato to eat mermaid flesh? What do we know about the Tara no Tomoshige anyway? Not much aside from the fact that he was part of the clan's main lineage. History has not been seen fit to record his deeds, whatever they may have been. Well, he may not have been one of the clan's famous warriors, but to think, you actually knew one of the Hike. You mentioned you were in a boat. Do you recall anything else? I think we were being chased. I do not wonder at that. At the end of the Heian period, the Hike were being pursued by the full might of the Genji's forces. I was struck by an arrow and I fell into the sea and drowned. But by that time, I had already become immortal. Later, I must have resurrected and washed up somewhere along the coast, and I guess that's how I escaped. What about Tomoshige? Did he eat some of the mermaid flesh too? I'm not sure. I don't remember that part, but I don't think I encountered him again after that. If you'll remember, ma'am, that cursed echo I witnessed earlier held the famed blade, Nukamori. Perhaps Tomoshige inherited the blade from Yorimori and wielded it with the intent to avenge his clan. After all, future generations would surely have held a memorial service for a warrior of renown like Yorimori, setting his spirit to rest. Tomoshige, on the other hand, is unlikely to have received the same treatment. If so, his hatred may have persisted long after his death. Creating the curse of the Hike, it is a distinct possibility. Yeah, because they were talking about how the Hike probably wouldn't have fully been, like, cursed like that, right? They said that earlier, like, very early. This curse sounds terrifying. Sounds like something you might have a, run-in with, Sato. I have to say, I wasn't expecting a connection here. You know, Sato, it's starting to sound like you're involved in all the incidences that have gone down in these parts over the centuries. Not by choice. For starter, okay. Again, Think should have a check mark on it, I feel like. You're not gonna have anything new, you already have a check mark on you. More about the Hike? Anyway, I get the feeling this Tara no Tomoshige wasn't a very nice guy. And this curse of his sounds even nastier. Could it really still be active after all this time? It certainly looks that way. The Hike resentment is awfully persistent, I hear. You don't think he could have held a grudge against me, do you? Who knows? That would depend on your relationship with him back then. Aw man, aw jeez. However, it appears someone is actively wielding the curse of the Hike at present. Therefore, the targets of the curse would be decided by this individual, whoever they may be. Another unknown, huh? Well, unknown. So if maybe he's just like, doesn't seem like a nice guy because he was like surly or something, like he just seemed offbeat. I would assume that he fed Sato the mermaid flesh to save her from them being pursued. But I guess we don't really know enough. Curse born from Tara no Tomoshige's feelings of malice and resentment that lingered after the fall of the Tara clan. It kills an individual who meets the conditions by cleaving them in two. Yeah. Kind of crazy that we officially got a note on that now, after we've run into it so much. More about this? Figuring out the origins of the curse is all well and good. But it doesn't help us solve the case. We need to track down the person who's actually using it, or it'll keep happening. Indeed. Hope you find them soon. Yeah, you would, Sato. Maybe not right now, but you definitely would. I would assume then that the corpses or the skeletons that were found in the ocean might have been like test runs to see how the curse works, and then eventually leading to we have an assassin ready to go. Apparently, Wakamura has been trying to find a way to end the curse. We did this one, right? He told us he'd already warned the islands about the impending danger and refused to have anything more to do with us. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I just hope this will be the end of it, but it's one job. I can't afford to fight. Okay, yeah, that was the same. So last time we didn't finish Sato's talk. By the way, you wouldn't happen to be concealing anything else, would you? Huh? No, It's fine. I'll not pry, just as long as you answer my questions. I mean, if she conceals it, then she's not answering the questions. I'm not immortal myself, so back to Raging Waves. Now, there's something I'd like you to try and remember for me. Me? But humor me. Doesn't the story behind the Curse of the Raging Waves ring any bells? Why should it? The girl who was sacrificed in order to seal two away the Curse of the Raging Waves for 4 centuries ago, Might that not have been you, Sato Shiranami? Alright, so they also put 2 and 2 together, which makes me feel less smart. What? You have said yourself that it was an Onmyoji who put you in that state of deep slumber on the seafloor. Does it not seem highly probable that you were the sacrifice who has held back the curse for the past 400 years? Oh man, you're right, that was me! I knew it. Memories flooding back. I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. What's the matter with you? Get a hold of yourself. Is it that painful to remember? I like how Yumeko, initially was like, calm down. She's like, oh, wait, maybe I should have a little bit more manners to this. We didn't come here to ask you to sacrifice yourself again, if that's what you're worried about. All those years under the sea can't have been easy on her, you know. She wasn't really asleep. Her brain would still have been active. Damn, it was like Dr. Stone. Moreover, there is a limit to how many memories the human brain can hold. I would estimate the maximum capacity to be around 100 years worth. So no wonder she forgot most things. Are you saying she remembers being in that state under the sea? In a sense, I presume her memory is filled with stretches of utter darkness, her view of the sea depths. Any memories from before that time have likely been pushed deep into her subconscious. Then maybe they're not gone for good. There's a chance she'll remember more. We just need to find the right trigger. Well, you say that, but we already got some memories past 400 years ago, so we do know that we can get some info. Yeah. It's also like that info might be killing Sato right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to freak out on you like that. Took me a second to get over the shock. Well, seems my theory about you being the sacrifice was right on the money. But it doesn't look like you'll be able to tell us too much about the past after all. Guess not. I wish I could have been more help. Oh, there's something else I'd like to ask you. Be my guest. How exactly do you deal with 800-year immortals? You sure you want to know? Huh? Since it's going to happen to you, there's no reason for you to think about it. Since it's not going to happen to you. I thought it would be something like taking away their immortality. Unfortunately, that's downright impossible. Because your original body is long gone, you know. But then, what else can you do? You tell her, Soto. I feel like the most humane thing would be witness protection. Like, basically what I would assume Sato did for 400 years, just jumping from place to place. Must I always be the one to handle these unpleasant topics? Besides, I see no point in explaining something that she is already painfully familiar with. What do you mean? Among the art we psychics wield is a spell that can place even an immortal into a state of apparent death. That sucks, though. That's really the best thing you can do. Once that is done, they can simply be sealed in an underground vault for the rest of their days. That's fucked, man. Can't, like, I don't know. I would say the witness protection thing is really the best thing you can do. At worst, put them in like a, I would say jail, but that's like maybe a worse fate, because that's, imagine living in a cell for 800 years. And I don't mean jail, I just mean more like a, some kind of institute that they could, like, I don't know, frolic in. Like it has a yard, kind of like a jail would. Oh, wait, you mean it's the same thing that happened to me? Essentially, yes. Except that in your case, it was for the purpose of making you a sacrifice. And you woke up before your lifespan came to an end. Yikes. Mind you, neither I nor Soto has ever actually done this to anyone. Though I did hear a rumor that someone was dealt with this way a few decades back. It's like, it's bullshit. There's like better things you could do. I guess the only thing to worry about is that the immortal would let the information slip that they're immortal. But like, I don't know, man. Just have them be able to be out and about with a handler. That sucks. That's bad. That sucks. Everything sucks. Being an immortal is hell, huh? Curse of the Raging Waves. But, does this mean the seal broke because I woke up? We cannot be certain of that. Perhaps it was the other way around. The seal may have broken of its own accord, releasing you from your slumber. Either way, it's not your fault. Don't go blaming yourself for any of this. Still, if I hadn't... Listen, your sacrifice kept the curse at bay for 4 whole centuries. That's half your extended lifespan. No one could ask more of you than that. The rest is up to Soto, isn't that right? Yes, but I'm counting on you to help as well, ma'am. I would also say, like, any of that kind of comes down to the, Onmyoji that set things up the way he did. Obviously, the idea would be 400 years and things could be resolved. Of course, there have been 800-year immortals who sought ways to become immortal again in the past. But they all failed. Even if they managed to track down the mermaid who gave them their immortality, it was no good. That's why more than a few immortals have ended up living out their long lives in religious seclusion. Yeah, same thing. So any chance you've remembered something about the Curse of the Raging Waves? Did that Onmyoji, Harukaze Tsuchimikado, happen to tell you how it could be lifted? I'm sorry. All that's come back to me is the fact that I was sacrificed. I don't remember the Onmyoji at all. What kind of person he was or anything. The most I can remember is that I think he said something about the curse being lifted after 400 years. That's all, huh? Well, be sure to let us know if you remember anything else that could help us break the curse. I will. Speaking of immortals, there's something else I had to ask you. Yes? Now, I'm not certain about this, but I get the feeling that there's another 800-year immortal on Kameshima right now. What? Any idea who it might be? No, I don't have a clue. Are you sure about that? Because if there is another immortal here, I'll find them eventually, you know. Even if I have to scour the island from end to end. Does that change your answer? No, I really don't know who it could be. Apparently you would be able to tell though, right? That's what we got? Alright, if you say so. Guess this means I'll have to search the island after all. As if I didn't have enough to deal with. You sure he's on Kameshima though? Because I guess there was another immortal, and my guess is someone that's not on Kameshima, but maybe he showed up? Well, I'd say that about covers everything. We've talked your ear off long enough. It must be confusing, all this talk of the past. We'll not trouble you any further. Right, thank you. Still, give it a bit of time, and something else might come back to you. If it does, please let us know. We'll be visiting the island again real soon, so you should have a chance. Will do. I'll be going then. I only have like 2 days to live and you wasted a good chunk of that time, but whatever. So, now what? She's given us much to ponder. To think we'd encountered a living witness. I never have dreamt it possible. Sure, it was fascinating, but I can't say it did us much good, as far as our investigation is concerned. Besides, she's still hiding something, that one. You know what's also crazy is Yumeko has the ability to tell if someone's an immortal, but she basically said that she wasn't, like, involved in dealing with any immortals before. You think she would be sent on all of those cases? You think so, ma'am? I do. In fact, I'd bet on it. She might even be up to something. But our primary objective here is to lift the curse of the raging waves. We don't need to start digging into anything else without good reason. On that note, do you really intend to search the island for the other 800-year immortal? Yeah, I figure we might as well look into that too while we're here. Understood. Was there a mermaid listening in on the ocean? Oh, you're here! My apologies for the interruption, but there is an important matter I wish to discuss with you. Now then, I believe you have just been privy to quite the interesting development. He's gonna ask if I've been paying attention, and I'm gonna either be right or wrong. As Yumeko Shiki would tell it, Sato Shiranami is not the only 800-year immortal here on Kameshima. And so I would pose you a question. There is indeed one more individual on Kameshima who has made a miraculous return from the dead. You have borne witness to the death and revival of this individual a total of 5 times. Fuck, okay. I think I know what this is. With this in mind, allow me to ask, who is the other 800-year immortal on Kameshima? Please tell me their name. It's Yuza, and I think those deaths are me failing the dives. Which I always thought was kind of weird the way it was presented. In which case, again, that would also explain maybe why Sato was like, you guys gotta go, I'll deal with this. It's Yuza. Is that how you spell it? Yeah, Yuza. And again, how he survived 5 years ago, correct? The answer is Yuza Minakuchi. To think you got it in one go, you're quite the observant one. Every time Yuza ran out of oxygen while diving, he suffocated to death in the ocean depths. I never kept track of that, but that would make sense. Because otherwise, I don't know what else would have been deaths. However, following his demise, he returned to life and was able to continue where he had left off, so he really sucks at diving. He died 5 times doing it and just didn't remember. I mean, I know that was my fault, but kind of funny. The word is normally. It would normally be highly unusual for someone to reach a diver rank of 17 on their first outing. Yeah, I kind of thought that too. Also, I don't know, how do you reach a diving rank on a first outing? Was it not suspicious when he collected, like, what was it? 108, mollusks or whatever he collected? I wonder, though, what would the conversation be if I only, like, dived once and called it a day? Such a feat would be difficult indeed unless one was unburdened by the fear of failure, or the fear of death. It was this knowledge of his own immortality that led to him displaying such an uncanny degree of confidence. So did he know he was immortal, though? Because it says this knowledge. As you may have suspected, Yuza Minakuchi became an 800-year immortal 5 years ago when he was saved by a mermaid. In truth, help arrived too late that fateful day, and it became the first time he lost his life. I wonder what light this new information will catch on events going forward. With that, please enjoy the continuation of this tale. I would imagine this should give us, like, a continuation of this part, right? Maybe that continuation comes from this tragedy moment, though? Because, like, Sato's here, but maybe Yuza, like, runs off to go do something else. Okay, so timeline-wise, the way that these, like, silhouettes change makes it really rough to tell which one I'm looking at. This to sacrifice, yeah, so she did not talk to Wakamura yet. That makes sense then with the way she was acting. But she didn't know about it, and she kind of kept it hidden there. Which is a shame, because if she had the conversation with Yumeko maybe after the fact, she could have brought up that Wakamura, like, knows. And maybe, I don't know if Yumeko would have done anything to help Sato in that situation. But, you know, the hope was kind of there. This doesn't help me with what I want to look at. I wanted to look at files and see if... I feel like that long stretch, I should have missed some mockingbirds. Oh, well. Apparently not. With the names of, like, the Onmyoji, I'm not positive on the connections to everything there. Most everything else is fine. So I still don't trust Ikoma. Obviously, he's into immortality in a way. What makes Yumeko think there's an immortal on the island still? And also... Sato does kind of act a little weird towards Yuza at times. So maybe that's, like, not weird, but there's a lot of, like, ellipses that happen when Yuza was there on screen. And also, I think he does it too. I always thought it was kind of weird. I wonder if that was, like, them feeling a weird uncomfortableness because they can kind of sense that immortality connection. I'm surprised it didn't update Yuza at all. So, okay. Obviously, then Yuza was... Well, so I was right about the immortality thing. The years between, like, 13 and 18, though, I feel like that would be noticeable. But again, he wasn't living on the island for, like, most of those 5 years. So I don't think anyone would quite question if he kind of looks the same or not. And then, yeah, I would, like, because the way the phone conversation went, it sounded like someone that knew Sato. The only way someone would know Sato is if they were from 400 years ago. So it would have to be someone else who's immortal, but technically Ikoma is not on the island. I wonder what would happen if, like, Ikoma really is immortal, if I had used him as the answer. If the storyteller would be like, oh, you're kind of right, but he's not on the island. Or, like, he would just say, interesting observation, but Ikoma is not on the island, and just kind of leave it at that. Or just say, you're wrong. Maybe I'll give you a hint.